unaware. Tearing the shirts off their backs while they steady riding yours like a boot hag, sucking up your life force. Know you have a recourse. Ashe, ashe. Discernment keeps us compelled to light. Keep your temper pure to set your spirit aright. Is your spirit denied? Is your path betrayed? Avoiding the void with the pharmaceutical arcade. Victimizing self, victimizing others. Loosening the ties set down by our foremothers. Take back your crown given by the Creator. Motivator of personal strength lies within you. Then bring your gifts to the people at large. Divinely in charge of self, sharing the wealth. Hey, hey. Stressing unity within community. Keeping spirit strong.
Thursday night, 7 p.m. Time for World Reggae Party with me, Goddess Janice. Rah, rah, rah. And my special guest, Englishman Ras Shango tonight.
Yo, this is Ras Shango, aka Englishman of the Shango Band, and I'm here on World Reggae Party at Fairfax TV. Big up yourself, all my fans, all players, singers and players of instrument. Love the one blessed love, Rastafari. Boom.
I am one with the spirit, Ashe, Ashe. And it's a wonderful Thursday night in Fairfax County, Fairfax, Virginia. And it's time for World Reggae Party with me, Goddess Janice. And good evening. Tonight we are here with a very, very special guest, DMV's own Englishman, Ras Shango. Can you say a couple words for the audience today?
One blessed love to all my musical family out there in the DMV, all musicians, all singers and players of instrument. Blessed love, Rastafari.
Blessed love. And we're going to be interviewing him right now. I met Englishman, or we met him, I should say, a few months ago at the DC Speakeasy with Ronnie Bandon and Iron Lion, Reggae, when we were starting to talk about how he can come on the show and talk about his reggae journey as well as how reggae is in 2017 going into 2018, his beginning roots and all of that. And recently, Ras Shango, or Englishman, was on my cooking show with World Reggae Party Local RE, and he was doing the background music as Chef Jeff and I were cooking, which was a wonderful experience.
Yes, man.
Was it a wonderful experience for you?
I tell you, it was. Smell, aroma was good, food was good, ambience was good, vibes was good. So, wonderful experience, yeah.
Yes, yes, it was a wonderful experience. And you get to take home today. So,
so you have those ready for me, huh?
Oh, yes.
All right,
oh, yes. Yeah. So let's get into it right away with my first question. And I ask this for everybody who comes on World Reggae Party. Why reggae music?
Reggae music, like with most things, evolves life, you know, the liberty as a Rastafarian and how we live. And it's a platform also to be able to communicate to the community and a wider audience at large. So it's a vehicle that we use socially to enjoy, to communicate, you know, enlighten, educate the people as to what is going on, like I said, in the community and worldwide. So that's why reggae music for me. It's life.
Oh, yes, yeah. Reggae is life. Mm-hmm. Or as I told other people, the staff of life.
Staff of life.
Yes, yes. So, how, when, and where were you discovered?
Well, I would say through family, really. A very good, stable mother and father, trying people that, you know, humble beginnings, but saw that music was a form that would help to bring us into a more stable environment, into society, given what was going on, you know, at the time where they were living. So, you know, they used music and the art form along with trying to make sure that we got a stable education, you know?
Yes,
as to,
yes.
You know, keep ourselves balanced. So
yes,
that is the reason. You know? Yeah.
Very good, very good. Can you describe your personal reggae style?
I would say a variety of conscious music, lovers rock, roots rock, reggae, bit of influences from all the great musicians from jazz, blues, hip hop, pop, many genres from Brazilian music all right around the world. So, given that we were exposed to a lot of those things growing up, those things influence our music, and you can hear touches of it, even though we keep in the root of reggae music, which is from Jamaica, the heart of,
Yes.
Where reggae was born still, Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Yes, it's been born in Jamaica, but it's a worldwide phenomenon at
Yes.
this point.
It's a global thing, I would say that it has its positive and its negative, aspects to it, in the sense that positively it has brought the world more conscious to reggae music, even though went worldwide when in its early infant stages, from the foundation artists, from Bob Marley, Dennis Brown, Peter Tosh, Bunny Wailers, and I can go down the list of all those veterans that helped forge and push this music forward. It has now moved to a next generation where it, like I said, from Brazil to England to Japan, right around the globe. Poland,
Yes.
throughout Europe, it's a spanned far and wide. The negative aspect from what I've seen is that the people who have originated it, some of them have not benefited from it, and even in their transitioning out of this world, financially, to get them to place to where they're moved to ancestry, it's very difficult. Some of the artists have not received the benefits of their work, what they have put out there to make reggae what it is, So
You mean the royalties?
it could be royalties, it could be just benefits from the music itself, vast monies that they have and time that they have invested. I look at it like this, and I may be giving away my age, but I say Pele, let's look at it in this sense, Pele, or say a Michael Jordan then.
Okay.
They were the greatest players when it came to soccer, or he was the greatest player when it came to basketball. But remember, he needed a team to play with. Even with his greatness, he couldn't take on the whole of the team. So even though you have the names like Bob Marley, who kind of steered the way,
Right.
there were other musicians that played their role in making reggae what it is. Those are the people I'm talking about that didn't get their just dues from reggae. Now, saying that, you have different artists out there, younger artists coming up now, that have learned more about the business, the ins and outs of the business, because it is a business.
It's definitely a business.
And have learned how to maneuver, what I call, through the minefields, and be able to reap the benefit. Now, some of those artists think back and say to themselves, or think forward, I would say, forward thinking, and say to themselves, let me give some of the spoils that I have made to some of these artists that are still struggling. All those melody lines that you hear, all those guitar riffs that you hear, all those beautiful arrangements that you hear, those musicians that were session musicians in the background. More so like Motown, where you have those musicians that made the Smokey Robinson and the Dinah Ross and all those people that came out of Motown. It was those musicians, great musicians behind them, that built those tracks and built those music, but you never really hear nothing about them. It's the same thing in Jamaica with those artists. So those are the artists I'm talking about. Also the big superstars, because some of them you see them as big superstars, and when you really check it out,
they're not.
They have superstars in name,
Right.
and people notoriety,
Right.
but financially
They're struggling.
they're struggling.
Yes.
Anyway,
Yes.
that is the answer for that question, right? So,
One more question, then I'm going to start playing some music, and also you can do some guitar music as well. I know you answered a little bit about this, or kind of in a objective way, but if I would say to you, we're living in a reggae revolution, what would that mean to you?
Well, I would say that growth is very essential to anything. And so where reggae was, and it is at this point in time, it has, blossomed and grown to higher heights. So I would say that reggae has moved, and once again, there are different people who play reggae music from different mediums, whether they're from jazz, blues, hip-hop. You'll find that reggae has bled into these genres.
Very much so.
And they have also put their spin on it too. I was talking to a fellow musician the other day, and I think they call it, not world beat, they have another name for it right now. And he was saying that it's being disguised as reggae because they have it now in a lot of commercials and stuff like that, but they don't want to name it as reggae.
No.
But it is definitely reggae.
Oh,
So
yes.
on this program right here, Shango, aka Englishman, is saying you can name it whatever you want to name it.
But it's still reggae.
It's still reggae. The foundation is there. It's reggae. Can't take it away. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You look at Beethoven, and when you look at Beethoven, and every time you hear da 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 da, it's Fifth Symphony, and that's how many years? 100 years. Watch Bob Marley.
Oh,
It
yes.
would be the same thing. And
Yes,
if
it
you
would be the
don't,
same thing.
if you don't know the roots of where it is coming from, somebody might say, well, it was started over in Mars, somewhere like that. You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
So we have to make sure, I have to make sure, and all the other musicians, reggae music, art from Jamaica, roots from Jamaica. So even though it has evolved, which is a beautiful thing,
Very beautiful.
remember where it come from.
Very much so.
Yeah, man.
Well, little take on that. What do you feel about Justin Bieber? I call it, when I hear songs that he tries to do reggae, I call it reggae light. Like Coors Light or Bud Light. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, once again, there is always going to be a genre of people, or a set of people who have never heard reggae, never experienced reggae. So when they hear Justin Bieber doing something, they say, what is that? What the hell is that? And he says, it's reggae. And they say, oh, then it will jog their mind to go look it up.
Right.
And then once they look it up, they become educated to it and say to themselves, oh, reggae. And if they look deep enough, once again, they realize, where does reggae come from?
Jamaica.
Oh.
All right.
So, like I said, it may be light, it may not be the hardcore reggae, but he's bringing it into another area where, once again, it will enlighten people, basically.
Well, he's giving it to his fans, and his fans could be like, oh, I like this song. I'm talking about I'm Sorry. That's the one that I like,
Yeah.
But he's bringing it to his fans, and his fans are like, oh, I never heard that before. Because once you think about it, his fans are like somewhere between 13 and 20.
All right.
So they're youngsters.
And possibly never heard reggae before. Or
Yes.
some of them, too, you have their parents, generations of their parents that grew up on, reggae music. Because if you look at bands like Rolling Stones and those bands like that, Paul McCartney of the Beatles, and were deeply involved with reggae music. They all have places down there in Jamaica where they vanish every once in a while, and all you can see coming from their house is big smokes. So so that generation of people, their family, their mothers and fathers, or what I would call the hippie generation, were deeply steeped in reggae music too, and other music, of course. So, their children may have heard it, just like when you were growing up, you heard your parents playing certain music
That's for sure.
And it's stuck in your mind. So with those children, that's possibly what will happen. Is a new breed of reggae fans and music fans altogether.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Very much so.
True, true.
So right now I'm going to play 2 songs back to back. One is a instrumental reggae thing / Latin flavor, and Sinai or Sinai, Sign.
So, yeah, play about me here.
Okay. All right.
Like I said, I gave you several CDs.
Oh
so,
yeah,
you
he
know,
did. He gave
I
me
can't remember all of the
Oh,
children.
wow.
Play, and we
about
talk.
10 of them. So yes.
That is 10.
All right.
And
10's a good number.
Yes, it is a good number.
World Reggae Party, Goddess Janice.
Minds can achieve anything. We make sure they get to college. Federal student aid provides more than $150 billion in grants, loans, and work-study funds to make college possible for anyone with the mind to get there. Because if given the chance, minds will do great things. Federal Student Aid, proud sponsor of the American Mind. Learn more about money for college at studentaid.gov.
When I look in the mirror,
Do I like what I see?
yes. I like my teeth and I like my tongue. I like my nose. I like my ears.
And my eyes?
And I like my face. Me gusta todo.
I see a perfect reflection of me.
And I wouldn't change a single thing.
Because I am enough.
And we are back having more of a party here.
Yes.
Yes.
Give thanks.
Rashanga was playing some really good acoustic guitar right then.
Yes, well, give thanks, you know.
Give thanks.
Yes,
Yes, give thanks. In fact, he's going to be doing a little bit of that throughout the broadcast, if you don't mind.
no problem.
So, how long have you been doing reggae in the Washington, D.C. area?
I would say good 30 years plus, you know, if not more. Our son is 30 years old, so giving away my age, I guess. So. Start young, you know?
Yes.
Started young still, but yeah, about a good 30 years, and I give thanks for the journey and continuing on with the journey as we go through this reggae process and changes, you know, and hopefully making that change, necessary change, along with the reggae, but keeping the foundation as always, you know?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. How has reggae changed in the DMV?
Well, once again, a next generation of promoters and people who are in the music business, you find that with the closing down of brick and mortar stores, you know, everything is online. So those people who were actually selling the physical vinyl and stuff like that, maybe not here, you know, Europe, maybe some places in California are still doing that, but here they're not doing it as much as they used to do it. You might find 1 or 2 novelty stores that would put out have CDs, records and CDs and stuff like that, but not very many.
Very few.
Very few. So it's changed a lot. The dynamics of you know, the music scene has changed, and people can get music on YouTube and, you know, all those different media outlets online still, you know. So
Yes.
so that's the change there. And with the promoters, it's still again who you know, what you know and who you know, because within everything there's politics, and
For sure.
you know, I couldn't sit well with myself coming here on the radio station and not mentioning that, because everybody wants to paint this picture that everything is wonderful, and
Yes.
no, that's not it. There's times when it's beautiful and we want to keep a positive vibe and positive look on things, but speak the truth and let it be known that, you know, people have their little cliques, and, you know, certain places or certain people who they want to let in, and
Right.
let them perform, and those they want to keep out. So those things still go on. And as a fighter, you know, and when I say fighter, musically, you know, you use the music as a platform to speak, and use these platforms here to tell what is going on. News, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yes. I could tell you when I started doing this 5 years ago, and I was trying to get people to come on my show, and I had the house band, or everybody calls it my house band, I Rhythm, and they've been on the show the longest, then Awelda and the Uprising. But when I first started out, I couldn't get anybody to come on this show. Excuse me. And, you know, I'm like, hey, it's free press, you know, come in, play a music, let's chat a while, you know, maybe get dinner afterwards, you know, stuff like that. And I couldn't get anybody on this show for the longest time. But the first international person I got was a man named David Cortez, and used to be in the group Rastasize. And he's like, you know, there's not a whole lot of women that do this. And, you know, you're really brave.
Yes,
That you came up and decided to do this. And but I had always had a love for reggae with Bob Marley and Peter Tosh and Dennis Brown. Then I have a DC Reggae Award, the Dennis Brown
Award.
Yes, Dennis Brown Award. And at the time, I haven't even heard of him. Then I had to research, and I'm like, you know, I got his namesake, so I got to research. But in general, people don't realize how much of you have to jump this way and maybe jump back 2 or 3 steps, then go back forward again, and keep doing that until you get recognized.
Yes, yeah. I want to big up Tony Java when it's, as I mentioned, the Dennis Brown, you know, Reggae Awards, because he was one who was very instrumental in trying to make those things happen, you know, and the Bob Marley and Dennis Brown Reggae Awards, and truly has spanned wide and given out, you know, made it be known to people who were doing good works towards reggae music, you know, and the Jamaican culture throughout the DMV, you know. So big up yourself, Tony Java.
Yes, big up to Tony Java.
Yeah, man. And I will say this, now a lot of sisters are prevalent, you know, women are prevalent in the music, you know, from radio to promotions and everything. And it's very difficult, but I find, and if you look in history and look at women who ruled the countries, you'll find that they were more stable. You'll find that they used a lot of women's intuition and wit to keep stability and war away. So a woman in this business is very vital.
Very vital.
Very vital, and they keep the conflict and a lot of the politics out of it.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? So give thanks. Big up yourself. Every time,
thank
you.
you. Big up to me. Goddess Denise.
Yes, sister, Goddess Denise. Keep on doing what you're doing. And, you know, Jah will bless you every time.
Yes.
You know? Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Yes. So can you do a little bit of a cappella?
Sure, I can get a little a cappella and see what we have on.
Okay.
This song here was written, and I gotta say this, because when I started out, it was myself and a brethren called Ireland Maccabee with Gomez Dice. Big up his family, the Dice family. Lenky from, you know, the Titchfield family. And, you know, who used to play with Burning Spear and all those people, and Brady Bradshaw and the Bradshaw brothers. And bring up yourself.
Oh, yes,
yeah,
big
man,
up.
Bubblegum and the family and everybody. Anyway, this song, No Other Love, was written by myself and Maccabee. There's no other love quite like your love. There's no other love quite like your love. For when I wake up in the morning time, I hear a Irish meditation. Then I look through my window pane, I hear the birds and bees singing. Yes, singing songs of love. Yes, singing songs of joy. And it's then I know Father love our soul. And it's then I know Jaja love our soul. Oh, there's no other love quite like your love. There's no other love quite like your love. Stand up, ba-da-da-da. Stand up, ba-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Let's give thanks and praise to the Father for all He has done. Now it's time for us to come together as one. One. Health and strength He has given unto you. So open your eyes so you can see the good He's done for you and me, and we are all one flesh and blood. I tell you, there's no other love quite like your love. No other love quite like your love. We all need your loving. We all need your loving. We all need your loving. You know who need your loving?
We all need.
Sister Goddess says she needs your loving.
Thank you.
I man say me need your loving. The cameraman them need your loving. All the people them want your loving. People around the world get your loving. People around the world know your loving. No other love quite like the love. There's no other love quite like your love.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. No other love quite like your love, you know?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
This is Goddess Janice of World Reggae Party with me, Goddess Janice. And we just had a wonderful interview with Ras Shango, also known as Englishman, and his journey of reggae for the last 30 years or so. Ras Shango, how did you feel about the interview tonight?
It was a wonderful show. It was good that we were able to cover a wide variety of, topics in reference to reggae music, my career, and where reggae is now and where it is moving to. So give thanks. It was a beautiful interview. And
yes, give thanks.
Yes, and we want to say to the massive out there, listening audience and viewing audience, that check out Sister Goddess World Reggae Party every Thursday
from 7 to 8.
Yes, and it's a very entertaining and educating show, and we love it. And this is Ras Shango, aka Englishman of the SHANGOBAND, saying, tune in, you will love it. YouTube, we love you. BBC, we love you. Fairfax, we love you.
We love it. Yes.
Stressing unity within community, keeping spirit strong like the elders of long ago. I know we can't go it alone. Don't forget what we own. If we throw away the crown, that which keeps us aligned with the divine source, we're thrown off course by those claiming to be angels unaware, tearing the shirts off their backs while they steady riding yours like a boo hag, sucking up your life force. Know you have a recourse. Ashe, ashe. Discernment keeps us compelled to light. Keep your temple pure to set your spirit aright. Is your spirit denied?